You know, sometimes we forget that the people we remember as history's heroes were just as human as you and I. Looking back, we see their choices as wise and heroic, but from their own perspective, they were often just scared and trying to stay alive. The early Texans fought Santa Anna because their livelihoods depended on freedom. After the Alamo fell and the Gallaudet captives were murdered, some headed from the nearest safe border in the runaway scrape, and others joined with Sam Houston to make a stand, believing they would die like so many Texans before them. Now, Houston gathered with his volunteer army in Gonzales and immediately began a retreat towards Harrisburg, which is now Houston. To many observers, this looked more like running than retreating. Even his own men began to grumble. But Houston had a plan, or at least half of one. On April 16, Houston paused beneath a solitary oak tree in the tiny settlement of New Kentucky. There's nothing left of the town now except for a historical marker in New Kentucky Park, a few miles west of Tomball, FM 20. But the giant oak tree is still there, the Which Way Tree. Not the best-selling book by Elizabeth Cook. We're talking about the actual tree. And a well where the footsore army and General Sam Houston himself liked to drink to wet their whistles after a long march. Not many people realized the significance of the place, but it was plenty important on that day. You see, the road from Washington on the Brazos forked at New Kentucky, and the Which Way Tree marked the fork with two giant limbs pointing out the alternate routes. One branch pointed northeast to safety beyond the Trinity and Sabine rivers. The other branch pointed to Harrisburg and to war. As his men took a midday rest beneath that tree, Sam Houston must have considered those roads and reviewed his options. Some versions of the legend say that he asked his men who among them would rather head for safety and who would follow him to fight. The vast majority chose to follow and fight, and 5 days later they would face Santa Anna in battle in the swampland of San Juanito. But that's a story for another day. But standing beneath this tree at the crossroads of history is nothing else than you can imagine. The lush trees and branches and leaves stretching out makes you realize that these memorable places can easily be forgotten if not for the chronicling of the history itself.